Hello, everyone. My name is Kimelyn Harris, and I'm interim head of housing access and affordability philanthropy at Wells Fargo. And I'm so honored to be here with you all today with Milan Griffin from HomeFreeUSA. We're going to deep dive in a little bit of hackonomics, talk about generational wealth and real estate, and just exploring how we can continue to build wealth generation through home ownership. So, Milan, let's dive right in. Many people believe they need perfect credit or a lot of cash to even consider real estate. From your perspective, what's the biggest myth about getting started in homeownership?
The biggest myth in getting started about in-home ownership is that you have to be perfect. You have to have a perfect credit score. You have to have a lot of money in the bank. You have to be debt-free, student loan free to start the home ownership process. And that is just simply not true. There are entities called housing counseling organizations. You want to look at ones that are HUD approved. They're approved under housing and urban development. And these housing counseling organizations are there to help you to get prepared for home ownership. So you don't have to worry about expensive credit repair companies or calling your aunt or your godmother or brother, whomever, to help to guide you through the process. There are housing counseling organizations all across the country, make sure they are government approved, that are here to help you to get prepared for home ownership. Home Free USA is one, but there again are hundreds around the country and your local area. We work with people nationally, but the goal is meet with a housing counselor first, get a handle on your credit because you may have great credit, but you may have high debt. And if you have high debt, that's going to chop away at your affordability. You may have great credit and little debt, but you may not have a lot of savings in the bank. Or you may have great credit, lots of savings, and little debt, but you may not know about down payment programs that are available in your local area. So again, you don't have to be pretty and perfect financially to start the home buying process. Get in touch with your local HUD approved housing counseling organization. Home Free USA is one as a partner of Wells Fargo and the TD Jakes Foundation. Let's look at that credit, that debt, that savings. Let's get an idea of what your home ownership goals are, and let's connect you with programs to make the process and your transaction more affordable and to make the process easier.
Milan, you often talk about house hacking. What does house hacking look like in 2025? Beyond renting out a room, that's the first thing I think folks think about. It's like, let me rent out a room in my home. But beyond renting out a room, what creative approaches are people using successfully today?
So your home is just that it's an investment and it's a wealth building tool, but it doesn't have to be just an expense. It could be a way to make money as well. And so when it comes to hacking, you want to look at creative ways to make your home work for you while you're living in it. And so going into what you said, Kimelyn, the when you buy a home, yes, the obvious thing is to rent out a room in your house. That is what I did. But that's a very powerful thing because now you have extra money coming in while you're in that house. That extra money can help you to pay your mortgage. And the money that you would be paying in your mortgage, you can now reapply that money to do things like pay down your debt, do things like save and put money towards maybe your business. So cash is king, and renting out rooms in your house helps you to reduce the your housing expense because your housing expense is usually the biggest amount uh, of your bills every month. So when you are renting out rooms in your house, it is smart because you are able to cut down that housing expense and you're able to have somebody else pay your mortgage using other people's money. And then from there, you can use that extra money to reinvest it, to maybe put it into buying more property and moving your wealth portfolio up from there. To give you an example, I bought my home at 29 years old. Now I'm 42. That's scary to say, but I am. So I bought my home at 29. Now I'm 42. But I'll tell you, buying a home at 29 was hands down the smartest thing I did for myself financially. I moved from my mom and dad's house to my own house. And I plead with you to do the same. You don't have to rent as your first house. You could also just move into a house that you own, as long as you have consistent and stable income. Needless to say, I bought my house at 29 years old. I rented out my basement apartment. With my basement apartment, I rented out to Airbnb guests, to long-term tenants. I still have a person in my basement apartment now. Their rent paid my mortgage. I took the money that I would have paid in a mortgage and I used that to one, pay off my student loans. Me and Sally Mae broke up a long time ago. I paid her off. And then I used that money to buy more property. So now I'm still in my first house. I still have a renter in my basement, but now I own two more properties. And collectively, I have seven tenants between the two places. And so I was able to use again the money that I rented from the rooms I rented out to really help me to position me financially. So now at 42, what I did at 29 has now completely changed my financial trajectory at 42.